January is a great time of year for investment banking elites because that's when the World Economic Forum in Davos comes around. If you're rich enough to afford it or senior enough for the bank to pay for you to go on their behalf, you'll find yourself surrounded by CEOs, celebrities, world leaders, and a slice of the global elite. Davos is exclusive, expensive, and deliberately insular. For bank CEOs and the other most important people in finance, this year was unforgettable, but not necessarily for the right reasons. Find out why on the Coffee Run. This week's top story was the various chaotic appearances of the Trump administration during Davos. One notable event was around Trump himself, while another was an embarrassing moment for Commerce Secretary and ex-Cantor Fitzgerald CEO Howard Lutnick. Lutnick set the tone on Tuesday after he was heckled for reportedly dismissing Europe and suggesting coal should take priority over renewable energy. Former presidential candidate Al Gore booed him, while Christine Lagarde, president of the European Central Bank, walked out midway through. The US Commerce Department said it was only Gore that booed Lutnick, but it's reported that Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO and chair of the WEC, had to calm down the crowd amid loud jeers. Trump's party came the day after, but it wasn't a glitzy affair. The room was grey, there were high tables with no chairs, meaning everyone had to stand, and it seems there was no food at the event either. The Wall Street Journal only mentions partygoers having water and wine. While most major bank CEOs were there, two were not. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon and Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan. The former seemingly showed up to the party, but left before Trump arrived to attend his own company's party. It's not clear what time he arrived nor left, but it's known that Trump showed up 1.5 hours late to his own shindig. The lack of their meeting was made all the more awkward yesterday, when Trump filed a $5 billion lawsuit against JP Morgan related to the president's debanking. As for Moynihan, the Wall Street Journal reported that he wasn't there at all, despite every other major bank CEO making an appearance. The Financial Times suggests that Brian's absence from the party was a possible punishment for Bank of America's similar refusal to open a bank account for Trump back in 2021. The New York Times reported that Moynihan made an appearance during a separate client dinner that night, which also featured Howard Lutnick. While this year's forum was memorable, it may also be the last of Davos as we know it. Speaking on LinkedIn, Larry Fink announced plans to bring the World Economic Forum to different cities in the future, highlighting Dublin, Detroit, Jakarta, and Buenos Aires as different cities that could soon be host to the forum. The Financial Times reported that Fink is planning to move the forum to other locations on a rotational basis, but Fink's post said he wants the event to stay synonymous with Davos. Moving Davos to Dublin, Detroit, or even Buenos Aires raises the issue that many banks have an office in those cities. This means that attendees are likely to work throughout the day and then just go to the conference events, tarnishing the closed network vibe of the event. Moving it to somewhere like Jakarta also significantly shifts the vibe. What will Davos become without Davos? Perhaps it will resemble the Milken Institute's annual conference, known to some as the Davos of the West. It takes place in the far more populous Beverly Hills and tends to attract similarly magnanimous industry leaders. The Milken Conference does have its own elitist identity, however, replacing the ski theme with more of a wellness retreat experience, in keeping with Hollywood sensibilities. Previous events there have involved sound therapy sessions for guests, as well as massages and wellness gardens. Last year's conference featured a bizarre hologram of the Institute's founder, Michael Milken, that you could talk to in multiple languages. With events like these, location plays a key role in establishing the tone, and much of the culture at Davos is built around the forum, having spent decades specialising itself for the after-parties of the uber-rich. Steakhouses there serve exotic game like zebra and wild boars. There's also a yearly wine forum that coincides with the event, serving wines that cost upwards of $1,000. The wine forum, of course, has an even more selective backroom, serving even more expensive wines to the most elite guests. Elsewhere, Politico hosts an annual party in which guests will get drunk on Negronis in a building similar to the Overlook Hotel from The Shining, then try to sled down a mountain on a toboggan. You'd be hard-pressed to find something like that in Dublin or Detroit. Bankers will be somewhat dismayed at the impending cultural shift, as people have used the event in the past to significantly advance their careers. Perhaps the most notable is Andrea Orcel, former head of UBS's investment bank, who earned the nickname Davos Man for his persistent appearances and prolific network rate. His reputation at the event was so notable that, when he was serving his non-compete after leaving UBS, he was advised not to attend the conference, even socially, for fear of violating the agreement. The World Economic Forum appears to already be changing regardless of whether it actually moves location. The New York Post reported that forum regulars had noticed a change in the aesthetics of Davos. The number of events had ballooned and tech giants are outspending corporate regulars. Thanks to Trump, there was also a massive security presence and even an issue with scammers selling fake VIP tickets. An attendee told the Post that the event now has too much visibility, which may ruin the allure of deal-making in Davos somewhat. Some Davos residents won't be sad to see the back of the event. One hotel manager speaking to Kite Insights last year said that Davos attendees are creepy and robotic. Despite the humanitarian themes of the event, the hotel manager said it's at its core about making connections and talking about how to manipulate the upcoming year for their gain. Not all Davos residents are as disenfranchised though. Another hotel manager said that building connections with repeat attendees has been a highlight of the yearly event for him, although he admits there has been erosion of trust between attendees and the general public. As for the rest of the town, you can liken it to a music festival. It leaves a huge mess that you'll spend a week cleaning, but it will generate a month's worth of revenue in a fraction of the time. You can imagine it's a love-hate relationship for some, but it won't be their problem in the future. Not every year, at least. Thank you for watching The Coffee Run. If you want to receive daily news updates on stories like these, click the link below to subscribe to Morning Coffee, our newsletter that breaks down the biggest stories in banking and financial services from Monday to Friday every week. On Fridays, we pick our favourite story of the week and dive into it in more detail on The Coffee Run.